What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bucks on Deck podcast episode. I'm Anthony Murphy. With me, as always, my buddy Nola Jeffy. Nola, what's going on, man?
Just listening to the tunes of my washer right now. That very long song it plays when it's finished.
That is fair. That is fair. So how's your week? How's everything going?
Pretty good, all things considered.
Get it?
Work's picked up end of year. It's usually how it is in the industry. So
get any
busy.
Get any mail recently?
Yeah. Yeah. Just started cataloging.
Yeah. The Nola kind of got me hooked, maybe not to his extent, but with the 2024 Bowman draft set coming out, I got me a pretty nice Levi Sterling, and I'm bidding on a Eddie Renders auto right now, trying to get that, but there's still a couple days left on that one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So
I think I got a couple Renders autos.
Oh, fancy pants. Sure, fancy pants. All right, but
yeah, I could go a whole nother route with that,
but yeah, we decided to push back the recording with the winter meetings. We usually record Monday nights, and not much was going on if we had recorded and it's a good thing we didn't, because a whole bunch happened over the last couple of days. And the winter meetings took place. We previewed that a little bit in our last episode. We kind of figured there would be some deals, some moves, some signings, and then like the Rule 5 and the draft lottery and stuff like that. We're going to get into the Rule 5, go over that. We're going to go over the draft lottery. We're going to give out maybe one or two names each that we're kind of watching who could be available at the 6th overall pick for the Pirates. But the first thing we wanted to do was get into the big move that the Pirates made. Made a trade. Can't say it was too much of a surprise that a trade like this went down. We've kind of been, the Pirates have made a couple trades last year at the deadline to move some of their pitching depth that they have. Made another trade, traded Luis Ortiz, Michael Kennedy, and Josh Hartle to the Cleveland Guardians. I almost said Blue Jays because that's where he was originally, but for Spencer Horwitz, first baseman, played some other positions. I'd imagine he's just going to play first base for the Pirates. But Nola, what were your thoughts on it whenever you first heard the trade?
Surprised?
Yeah.
I guess also kind of surprised just in the fact that, I guess you could say I'd long been talking about how I believe that they should trade Ortiz for offensive upgrades. They obviously did that. He's got a lot of control. Super cheap. He's never played a full season, which is one thing, but he was a very good hitter last year. So, all in all, it's I'm content with with the whole trade. I feel like that was like a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, it was a obvious need that the Pirates had. They needed to get better offensively, and Horwitz had a really good year. Like, obviously there'll be some concerns over like the platoon splits and stuff like that, and it kind of leans towards him maybe not being an everyday guy. Maybe it's something he improves at with more work. But even for a guy who struggled against lefties, to put up these numbers overall, I think speaks to just what he's capable of against righties. Because I know some people, I guess there are always going to be, I feel like there's going to be certain people who are going to be upset no matter what they do. Like, it was never enough, or they gave up too much. How did you feel like the overall package that the Pirates gave up, Ortiz and two pitchers? How did you feel? Did you feel like it was too much, or did you feel like it was?
I guess it kind of depends. it is interesting in a sense that to me, it felt like even just like a couple weeks ago, people were willing to just throw Ortiz away.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think people were saying Ortiz plus for Josh Naylor. And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you want a 1 year, $12 million first baseman for Ortiz plus? And then flip around. And I mean, again, granted, he doesn't have a lot of experience in terms of at bats and plate appearances and stuff, but I mean, he had a very good year last year in 97 games. And he had almost 2 WAR in those 97 games, so 60% of the season. If you get that consistently, he's a very, very good addition. And he fills a huge hole. He adds a lot. He'll add significant offense to what they had at the first base spot last year. And I can't imagine he's going to be like, I don't think he hasn't played a lot of time at first base. Part of me was even wondering if maybe they'd throw him in the outfield, although his sprint speed is not very good. So I can't imagine that's likely. Only reason I thought that too was just because, I mean, Blue Jays had outfielders, plus he's only like 5'10". But just not necessarily to make a comp, but I mean, Christian Walker's only 5'10", and the dude's a Gold Glove first baseman. So I think the package was fine. I thought Hartle was a perfect prototype, I guess, for the Pirates. But also, likewise, he probably is for Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing for Kennedy. So, I don't know. I think it's a win-win overall.
I think, and I mentioned this too when I read about it, that I think if you look at this trade head to head, there's a very good potential that it may come out looking like the Guardians got the most out of it, or they got the better of the Pirates and all this. Because I really do believe with like their pitching development, I mean, they're gonna cook with all three of these guys. I wasn't very high on Josh Hartle when they drafted him. I was intrigued to see if they can do anything with him, but like, I saw him pitch a couple times in college, and like I understood why he was ranked so high going into the year and everything like that. It just wasn't a guy that just was very exciting kind of thing. But like Michael Kennedy, I think they're going to do work with Michael Kennedy. Like he has all the pitch metrics, the arm slot, the extension. I feel like they'll be able to get him to shoot a couple ticks back up with the velocity where he was at before, without sacrificing the command that he kind of developed this past season. But I think like you said, if you look at it just on like at each team, I think this has a chance to be like a very big win-win. But if you look at it like head to head or something like that, the Guardians may come out ahead. But it won't matter if this helps the Pirates win more games. I don't think anyone's going to care, how good the other three do with Cleveland if Horwitz just kind of steps in and he's just kind of mashing against righties and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I mean, obviously going back to our 2.5 Gringo days when we were doing our prospect lists and everything. I wasn't always the biggest Ortiz guy.
Yeah.
He's still debatable as what is he? He's probably, you could probably, what's the word? Trust in him being a back end starter. I don't know how much further from there it's going to be, and that's why even if becomes a dependable 160 plus inning back end starter for Cleveland, it's a huge need for the Pirates, as well as, the obvious. Within half a season, a year, he's probably the 7th, 8th starter at best.
Yeah.
By then,
He's probably heading back to the bullpen.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Oviedo. We don't know where Oviedo is going to be, but he's coming back. Bubba, Harrington, Ashcraft, if he's a healthy Burrows. They're probably all better than him. So,
yeah, and I feel like Cleveland too could probably I can see next year Cleveland's in the playoffs, and he's one of those guys that's coming in. He does bulk work out of the bull. If they do a bullpen game, he's the bulk guy in a bullpen game for them or something like that. They'll find a way to make him super effective in 2 to 3 innings, and then just have him that kind of stuff. So
yeah, he's could be the fourth guy to where if a series of game 4 of a playoff series is too short rest for their number 1 starter.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy you go to, kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I like you put it there, he's probably just a back of the rotation guy. If you think of it that way, back of the rotation, you're trading a back of the rotation number 5 guy for a platoon hitter, a really good platoon hitter. I feel like that's pretty fair, pretty fair. So and if he's your guy, which obviously I guess Ben Charrington drafted him, and Matt Hague's worked with him the last couple of years. So if he's your guy, go get him. Go get him. You have to throw in a couple guys, and that's why you have the depth that you have pitching wise, because you can trade a Hartle and a Michael Kennedy, and Michael Kennedy's a guy that I've always been fairly high on. You can trade him, and you still that AAA rotation is still lining up pretty good right now when it comes to top 100 prospects. So
yeah, and forget AAA rotation. You want to look at Hartle and Kennedy. Meath. They just drafted Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
How many arms do they have going down to even high A and double A, low A? They were probably going to be pushing for rotation spots down there too. Well, not those two specifically, but
yeah, and they'll add another couple of them in the 2020 draft. I'm sure of too. And speaking of that, the MLB draft lottery was also during the winter meetings, and the Pirates they were lined up to pick 6 anyways, right? And that's where they ended up on there. I guess we had that glimmer of hope whenever they didn't slide anywhere. They were in the final 6, and then I think I made a comment in the group chat that they're just going to end up with the 6th pick and they take all the excitement out of it.
All those ads and wait time for them to just pick 6 tables.
Yeah. So Washington Nationals end up with the 1st overall pick. I think they had a 10% odds to get it. I don't think they picked 1st overall since they took Bryce Harper, either Bryce Harper or Strasburg, whichever one was the second. I think Harper went.
Yeah, I believe it was Harper.
Year after.
It was Strasburg, then Harper.
So 6th pick, Pirates picked 8th last year, so they move up a couple spots. Looking at it, I know it's super early. Was there anyone, now that you have now that we know they had the 6th pick, that you're thinking potentially could be available? I know it'd just be easy to just slam on the table for Ethan Holiday, but we know he's not going to be available. I know you like Chase Laviola as well. We know he's probably not going to be available either unless something happens. But out of the realm of possibility early on, is there anyone that kind of stands out to you?
Well, one guy that I've mentioned probably a couple of times is Cam Canarella for Clemson. I'm not sure how many people were paying attention watching the College World Series, although the game is escaping me right now. I don't know if it was the Texas A&M game or whatever, but he just went off, and topped it off with, what was it, Willie Mays catch, running back straight to center field and dove and caught the ball. And it was like a Sports Center top play of the day. It was beautiful. So he's just real athletic kid, great hit tool, speed, and then it came out actually after they lost that he pretty much had played with a torn labrum the entire year. So, because the knock was that, how much power is there? Is he ever going to develop more power? And the hope is that he had surgery after the year, and hopefully that will maybe a little more power output next year. He could team up with Will Taylor.
Yeah, Will Taylor was part of that Clemson team as well. You had me sold when you said Cam, the name Cam. Big fan of anyone whose name is Cam. I don't know why, but outside, I'm a big Cam guy as well. Obviously, I do think there's a potential that he probably just goes before that pick, especially like he put up that good of a year anyways. And like you said, he was injured. So if he comes back healthy and looks even better, I guess there's a chance that he kind of moves up even more. There's another outfielder too that I kind of like to. Saw him early on in the season playing in a couple games. That's Devin Taylor from Indiana. Shorter, he's right at 6 foot, stocky guy. Hit 20 home runs last year. Another 11 doubles, slugged over 600. Just power corner outfielder, and I think the Pirates can definitely use one of those in the system. Especially if we're looking at potentially Brian Reynolds moving off the position eventually at some point, maybe, I don't know, with Horwitz now. But even if not, you'd stick Reynolds in right and Devin Taylor in left, or doesn't matter where you put him. He's the hitter. He's going to provide some power. Pirates need some power in the system, and he around that position, I think he'd probably be the best guy there, especially if you want like a college bat who's probably going to move a lot quicker than your prep guys. I know the Pirates went heavy on that last year, especially early. So.
Yeah, actually, and I remember watching him because I was watching some of the Indiana games. I was interested in Brock Tibbetts, who the Blue Jays ended up drafting. And yeah, Devin Taylor was definitely a guy that stood out. It got talked about a lot, so he's definitely someone interesting. I didn't know if you were going to bring up. Were you going to bring up any more?
I mean, I have a couple, but one that I feel like I can't go without mentioning is Seth Hernandez. I know
it's not
prep pitcher.
I thought you were going to say.
I mean, I have a couple others too. Seth Hernandez. I know, like prep pitchers that early, a little bit of a risk, but good frame. Fastball was touched up to 98. Extension. They say he has a plus changeup already. Like all the metrics, everything like that. It plays off the fastball well and everything like that. Throw the curveball with it. Started throwing the slider. And the other thing that stands out with it too, the Pirates definitely have a history of drafting two-way athletes that have like the better upside on the mound. They just love their athletes on the mound. Bubba Chandler, Jared Jones, Levi Sterling this past year were all had the two-way athlete kind of note in their scouting reports and stuff like that. Hernandez is a two-way player as well. Obviously going to get drafted to be a pitcher and stuff like that. I know pitching's already deep. They got plenty of pitching, but I guess at this point you can never have too much of it, because if you have too much of it, you feel like you can always trade one away for something else in there. And just the little bit I've seen so far, I haven't watched too much on a lot of the guys here, but he's definitely a guy that kind of immediately stands out in this range right now.
Which I think it's funny you bring up a two-way prep kid, and I thought you were going to say Cruz Schoolcraft. the 6'8" left-handed pitcher.
I think that's your and Corey's guy. So I wanted to leave that for you if you wanted to bring him up.
Well, I mean, a 6'8" southpaw at 17 years old.
I mean, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, which another thing I was even just thinking of too. I think I said it too after the pick happened, and isn't that I think the draft, at least as of right now, is probably somewhat relatively similar to this past year's. I wouldn't say it's 2023 in a sense of like that big, huge top tier separate themselves from the pack kind of guys, but there's a lot of really quality depth up top.
Yeah.
The big thing is that this year there should at least be those premier positions. Like you have true center fielders, you have true shortstops. So where last year it was, I mean, you had first baseman, second baseman, and you had JJ Weatherholt, who was a maybe shortstop, could probably stick. I mean, obviously Connor Griffin was the premier position player.
Mm-hmm. So, well, speaking of that too, another guy too that I saw a tweet on him. I think it was today or late yesterday or something like that he got like player of the year for something like that. Kason Cunningham. He's a prep shortstop out of Texas. I think it is. One of the reports talking about him being the best pure hitter in the 2025 class. I think this will sound very familiar to Pirates fan. They call him the best pure hitter in the 2025 class. He's left-handed and he's a smaller player. Sorry, Yark. But so definitely, I guess, but it sounds like he's a lot more athletic and has more of a shot to stick at shortstop than like Tamar did. So, but he's someone that's, I feel like right now he's in that range, but like with a good year at the beginning of 2025, he could move up the board some. So.
Yeah, I mean, 5'9", 60 hit, 45 power. That sounds right up their alley. I'm reading through his report right now, and he just said, with his bat speed and ability to barrel it, he could be a 15 to 20 home run kid. So,
a good athlete, 15 to 20 home runs at second base, even shortstop. Maybe I don't know. So, got to watch. It's still early. I mean, like if you think about it, going all the way back to the Tamar Johnson draft, like I think heading into things like it was like Tamar and like Elijah Green were like the two like no doubters at the top of the draft, and then like Jackson Holiday kind of steamrolled his way up. He was like a late day 1, day 2 pick going into the whole process and shot us all the way up to the first overall pick. So we have these kids here now.
It's the number one prospect in baseball.
Yeah. And it seems like his brother's already kind of there, but like we never know kind of thing. So it'll be fun. We'll be interested. I'm excited to get into like the coverage we did last year when it comes to the draft, do like the weekly reports, weekly write-ups on stuff that's going on. Maybe we'll sneak in another mock draft or two or something like that. But did you have anything else draft related you wanted to get to before we go to the Rule 5?
No, just need the seasons to start so we can start watching guys and being like, "Ooh, I like this guy."
Yeah. I mean, we're at least with college baseball.
I forgot about him actually.
Who?
Speaking of big boys, that Chase Shores for LSU, the 6'8" righty.
What was his name? Was it Cade Anderson or Cade's that lefty we saw that was pitching midweek?
Oh yeah. I think Cade Anderson sounds right. Yeah, he had he topped out at like 90, but he had like a ridiculously stupid stuff plus just because of the movement he had on his stuff.
Yeah, I think he's like a draft eligible sophomore or something like that this year. So,
although coming off Tommy John, I believe, hits 100 though. So big boy.
Shores. Yeah. I remember I saw him pitch like because I think he came in a game that like Skeens pitched or something like that, and like people were like instantly trying to draw a comparison or something like that to him because big body, power fastball and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. We're not that far away from college baseball season, really. So
Which actually, speaking of LSU, we could start the Jared Jones 2.0 2.0.
Yeah, yep, didn't work last year.
Although apparently Jared Jones is in trade talks now, so
and we're gonna miss out on that Jared Jones to Jared Jones thing.
yeah, whoever if they trade him to is going to have to get Jared Jones 2.0.
Yeah, gotta have a Jared Jones in the system.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but obviously we'll get more into the draft down the road as their games being played, and we kind of get a chance to get our eyes on some of the players and stuff like that. But moving on to the last big thing of the winter meetings, and that was the Rule 5 draft. At this point, I think everyone's starting to calm down and realize how maybe it's a little bit can get on the overblown side of things. Pirates didn't make a pick in the major league portion. It felt like there's quite, I think, what is it, like 15 players total got picked in the major league portion. The Braves actually took 2, which I can't remember the last time that's happened.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. And then, I mean, if anything, I would have thought the White Sox would have taken a couple players, but they only took one. So
yeah, I think too, because I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying that, like, you know, the 40, like, they don't need to add, like, they're in a position to where they shouldn't be adding anyone on the 40 man, and you know, because they should be trying to win it. So I think if you have the opportunity, and the Braves showed it, because you know the Braves made 2 picks, the Brewers made a pick. Quite a few teams towards the back half of the draft made it. If you feel like there's a player there that has a shot, even if it's just like bringing them in to give it, you know, like a tryout basically in spring training, like, you should always be looking to improve your team. I think just saying that they don't need one or they shouldn't take one is kind of short-sighted in a sense.
yeah, but I think that's where you could probably get into like roster construction type of talk, to where you know, a team like the Dodgers or Braves, you know, their starting lineups are so good that, you know, and you know, depth players that, you know, they could probably hide a raw kid for a little while he works on some things and they get him into a right spot. Whereas, you know, the Pirates need all 26 spots. Every single guy in that 26 man roster is going to need to contribute.
Yeah.
So
now that you said that is a good point, because like with the Dodgers, like most teams use like the DH spot to kind of, you know, like the Pirates can give Brian Reynolds like a day off of running around in the outfield. I mean, the DH spot's spoken for 162 games with the Dodgers with Ohtani. Yeah. Mookie's going to play 120, 130 plus games. Freddie Freeman's probably going to play right at 160 if he's healthy. So, like, I guess that's a good point. Like the Dodgers, if anyone, I don't know if they end up taking anyone, but they have a chance. It's easier to hide with them whenever you have so many good players that are, yeah. But Pirates didn't take anyone. They didn't lose anyone. So Siani, Eddie Ying, Omar Alfonso, all of them stayed put. They did now.
Sammy Siani 2025 breakout season still intact.
Yep. I was like, every time one of the front office guys would come up to the mic, I'd kind of sit there and lean in. It's like, is he going to say Sammy Siani? Is he going to say Sammy Siani? Because like I was starting to get to points like, you know what, maybe they might just lose him, and I mean that's probably okay because like he could get sent back, and I don't know. So like it was always kind of like the lean in, the anticipation, and then just nothing happened. So which is good. Now that we get to see if he can continue up the trajectory that he's been heading, kind of thing. So, but on the minor league side, the Pirates lose 3 players: Darvin Garcia, Dylan Shockley, and then Isis Dupree. I saw Garcia pitch in Greensboro. He has a really good changeup. I mean, that's probably about all you can say about all 3 of them, kind of thing.
Well, and I mean, Darvin Garcia got graded the best changeup by Baseball America. So
yep. Yeah, really good changeup. He's a really good changeup.
Yes.
So he heads to the Red Sox, I believe. Shackley was someone who's like a defense first depth catcher. But like I think he's pretty well known throughout the system as, you know, a guy that pitchers like to work with and stuff like that. So not much of a prospect, not much of a guy that's gonna, you know, fans are gonna be interested in, but on the player side of things, I'm sure they'll feel that a bit in there. Didn't play much. I think he hasn't played more than like 40 games the last couple of years or something like that. So
I was gonna say, don't worry, we got Derek Berg.
Yeah. So they and then Dupree, or I'm sure he had a really good year in the DSL, but like he's 21 years old, so yeah, this is his third year in the DSL. I don't think numbers really matter much until you get to like the 21, and then it's like, yeah, you probably should be putting these numbers up. So. I mean, I don't think the Pirates have ever, over the last couple of years, I don't think they've ever lost anyone in the minor league phase that's kind of come back and be like, oh wow, oh dang, that kind of sucks. I know they lost Domingo Gonzalez a couple of years ago, and that kind of sucked for me because I had written an article about him that we were waiting on post it on P2. I had to kind of like word how a bunch of that was to kind of fit the fact that they lost him.
Wait,
other than that,
okay, they can always come back a couple of years later, you know.
Like Wilkin Ramos?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy because I don't know if I said that on here. I think it was just like in the group chat I mentioned it. It was just looking at like the pitch metrics on like his like with his extension and some of the stuff. I'm surprised they let him go. Like I know he's just like kind of just like a minor league guy. He's put up some good numbers like with the Mets and stuff like that. But just the metrics and kind of stuff like that, it's like identical to what you feel like the Pirates love, and they just kind of let him go kind of thing. So I just thought that was weird. Like we're probably the only two that kind of like care about so like a Wilkin Ramos kind of guy. But like I just thought it was odd kind of thing.
Yeah. It's so funny that he ended up coming back regardless. So
yeah. Like I was looking at his fastball metrics, and it's almost identical to like a Xander Meath. Like a super low arm slot. It's like a 7.5 foot extension, which is more than Meath's. And then like he gets like 17 inches of horizontal break on it. So, but it's like a very flat. I think it's like 4 inches of induced to it.
So. Well, when you got that arm slot, you know.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Bless you.
Thank you. So, but on the other side, the Pirates added 5 players, 3 pitchers, 2 hitters. Is there anyone here with any what you've kind of looked up or anything like that that's you kind of feel intrigued by? Yeah. I think this kind of just speaks to the Rule 5 in general. Like they added some arms.
Yeah. I mean, and that's right. I know you spoke on Steve Hajar. More than it was a name I recognized more than anything. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
Steve Hajar, he was like the 100th ranked prospect on Pipeline in the 2021 draft. Some like obviously kind of like I just picked like random games and stuff like that, but I watched some videos on him, and like I mean, you can certainly see why the Pirates would like him. It's just like he walked more than a batter an inning, walked more than he struck out in high A at 24 years old. So like, I mean, we're probably looking at Darvin Garcia's replacement in the bullpen in Greensboro kind of thing.
I was even thinking, I was like, oh, you know, they just traded Josh Hartle, and we're like, hey, this will be our new Josh Hartle.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, the Joel Mendez guy, he was kind of on the older end for the complex league, but it looked like he put up some good numbers there. Frank Frank De La Rosa, he's 6'8", so like the extension's going to look really good. But he was also 24 and put up like an 8 ERA in single A. So I guess the Randy, I think it's Lebeau. The left-handed reliever they got from Cleveland, his cutter had like a 40% whiff rate. The fastball has some good characteristics on it. So I don't know. And he pitched in AAA all year last year, so yeah.
Depth.
Yeah,
you gotta fill rosters.
Yeah, that's all this is. And I think I saw a couple people commenting about since it was like the minor league phase, like getting prospects or something in this. Like you're not going to get any prospects of note in this kind of. I mean, the Giants got Dario Lopez from the Pirates last year, but there's that thing with his knee, and they weren't like sure like if he was going to be able to play again. So
yeah, I mean that's the only way you're getting a guy. Yeah. I mean, all this really is. I feel like something that we've spoken on about how I think people forget how even when the offseason begins and they start signing all these guys to minor league contracts, people are like, oh, book your World Series tickets. And it's like they have to field teams in every other level still. So they're gonna sign guys that they're gonna get a Claudio Fanol, who's gonna just get frequent flyer miles wherever he's needed.
Yeah. Regardless of how long a team's rebuild has gone on, every single minor league affiliate is not going to be stocked with 30 to 35 legitimate prospects. There are going to be some guys who are on here because they can throw the ball right around 90. They can get it over the plate the majority of the time. Like they're every team's going to have like minor league fillers. Every team's going to have it. And what is like the domestic reserve limit or whatever is like 160, 165 now. So there's going to be 165. I think it's up to like 180 right now during the offseason.
Yeah, I want to say 175, but
I think it was like a 10. Yeah. So like they're going to have every single spot that they can have filled going into spring training. So there's going to be a lot of this. That's why they took 5 players in the minor league portion. They're filling.
Ethan will let us know tomorrow.
Yeah,
or I guess we'll get it today when this releases.
Yeah, we'll get a text. We'll get an angry text from Ethan later. So, yeah, that's pretty much it on the Rule 5. Overall, was this a letdown for you as far as winter meetings, or did you come out like with more than maybe you thought they would? Did you think they were going to do anything here more than maybe like a minor league signing?
I didn't really think much was going to happen other than, I mean, when we last recorded, just saying like more, I would be fine just hearing that there's rumors.
Yeah,
the Pirates. Like I would be like, I just want to hear that there's been rumors of trade talks. Like that's my bar. Yeah. I wasn't expecting them to make any actual moves. Just like, hey, people are inquiring about their pitchers, and they traded one of them. There's supposedly, there's reports, depending on who you ask, of teams asking about Jones. Keller being on the table. Who knows? We'll see. I think it's a good start. It's a good start.
I don't want to get too much into it because I don't like the rumors. Like I'll acknowledge just because like cool, that means that maybe something could be happening or something like that. But like what are your quick thoughts on like the whole idea that the whole Keller available to use the money elsewhere kind of thing?
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
To me. Because I mean, I guess you could say that Skeens is far beyond his age in what's the word I'm looking for? Not veteran, obviously, but he's just wise beyond his years, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. and I feel like that veteran presence will be useful for someone like Keller. He's on a very friendly contract. Now, if you wanted to say to use that money elsewhere, I mean, trading Keller, I mean, because, oh man, what was Ethan's number at? He had just posted, I want to say it was like 76 or something. So you figure they still got, 30 to, I mean, if we want to push it, 40 million, if they want to get crazy, to use. I mean, you trade Keller, I mean, you got 50 to 60, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think keeping Keller would be smart.
Yeah, I do too. I like him too. Just as the fact that he's going to consistently get. And we've seen what pitchers have been going for here, and it just feels like that contract gets better and better every day. Every time another pitcher signs a contract, like, oh wow, well, Mitch Keller's only making this much, and then that guy's making a lot more than that. So, and like he's gonna slide in eventually as like what your fourth guy or something like that. If you're going by numbers and stuff like that, I don't like going numbers during the regular season, but he's eventually going to slide in to like at best your fourth guy, and to get a number 4 that can eat innings at that rate, like give me and so I don't know.
I mean, yeah, and then taking it back to when we were talking about Ortiz, like just imagine going into the playoffs and Keller's your 4.
Yeah, that's insane. That's nuts, especially with how many like bullpen games we saw this past postseason too. Just like even the Dodgers were, I think one series they used like multiple. They did a bullpen game multiple times. They only really had the one or two starters. So, last thing, what's next? What's next? What are you? If you're running this team right here, what's the next thing that you're looking for? What's your next area of focus?
Outfield bat
need to be done. Outfield bat. Yeah.
Outfield bat.
I think that's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, right at this point.
I mean, I think that's what I guess I maybe should have added a fourth once everything kind of settled after all the dates and everything, but I'd be okay if they kind of left the infield as is and just went more for like a defensively capable infield, and got a good bat for the outfield. Well, and a guy that's not got concrete in his shoes out there. But yeah, I mean, I think number 1 should be an outfielder. And then if they're feeling a little frisky, I'd get a shortstop upgrade.
Yeah, I think in a dream scenario, you're trying to find something else at shortstop. I feel like, or maybe not something else, but just something to go with IKF maybe. But I think like the reality of the situation is, he's making $8 million next year, and I very much don't see a scenario where they invest any added money into it. So, but I think it's got to be outfield and bullpen still. I still think you probably want to add another reliever too. We didn't really get much into Elvis Alvarado, which perhaps by the time you go to listen to this, the article I did on him will be out. Left-handed relief, they need that. They only have one left-handed reliever on the 40-man. So I think those are right at the top there. I don't know if they make another trade unless you can find someone who's going to value like a Bailey Falter really up there. So
Alvarado?
Huh? What about him?
He's righty.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said lefty.
Joey Wentz. Joey Wentz is the only lefty reliever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I might have blended all that together, so my bad. In my head, it sounded good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Joey Wentz was someone that had some intrigue. If we're being honest, I completely forgot about him.
Yeah. Me too.
Joey Wentz, if you listen to this, I'm sorry. I was pro Joey Wentz. So
he was. If by chance you are actually listening, Nola was very much pro Joey Wentz whenever they picked him up. Very much pro Joey Wentz.
I thought he was very intriguing.
And he turned out to be really good. Maybe not Luis Peralta good, but Joey Wentz good.
Yeah. Which the other thing I was going to add on a little, I was even just thinking is I think what they could do is go. I know NS9's all about it. Go get Kim, the former Padres shortstop, even though he's going to miss part of the beginning of the season. That's cool. Pay him, bring him in, get that. Well, number one would be to get Sasaki, although that probably won't happen. I'm going to completely butcher it, so I'm not even going to attempt to. There's that other left-handed Japanese pitcher, I think, that would fit well in Pittsburgh. And then trade another starter to Oakland A's for Denzel Clark and Max Muncy.
Sounds good.
There you go.
Sounds good. All problems fixed.
Boom. You got you a starting shortstop. You brought you in a lefty starter, so you can trade another pitcher. Get a couple AAA near either MLB or near MLB ready shortstop and really good outfielder. Boom. Succeed. World Series.
Sounds good. All right. Well, since I guess since you kind of solved all the Pirates issues, we can go ahead and wrap things up. Do you have any NOLA knowledge for the group today?
Check the weather of the Thursday night football game before you place bets on it.
You should always I think I told him this too a couple weeks ago when I got suckered in to copy his bets and his bets lost and my bets won.
Yeah,
you should always
it did happen.
You should always take the under on Thursday night games because
on 3 days rest. That's why you should.
Every game is always sloppy.
Yeah.
It
seems like every game has bad weather too.
Yeah, which doesn't help to what's already going to be a sloppy game. So you should already be taking the under.
Yeah, which is funny because I made them kind of late because sometimes I get hosed where I'll place a bet and then it's like McCaffrey's out for the game and I'm like, God damn it. Yeah. But like right after I did, my friend's like, oh, the weather's gonna be terrible. I'm like, oh, I'm screwed.
Yep.
But
I guess so. I'll summarize the NOLA knowledge. Whatever NOLA bets, take the opposite.
Hey, I showed you what I hit this weekend. I hit some bangers.
That's true. That is true. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode. So this is going to be releasing on Friday. Nolan and I will talk after this we get off air about if we're going to do one immediately on Monday again. We'll see what kind of content. Yeah, we'll see what kind of content we can come up with in that time. But we'll let you know if we do or if we don't. In the meantime, Nola, where can they catch you on social media stuff?
On the social medias is Nola Jeffy, NOLAJEFFY. Either on the Sky or Bird app.
Yeah. On Twitter, you can catch me at _Murphy88. It's just Anthony Murphy on Blue Sky. I, to be honest, forgot about that app for about 3 days this week. So I started to get back posting on it around the Rule 5. I posted a bunch of stuff that I found, Rule 5, a bunch of the videos that I put together. Check out the YouTube page. I'll put the YouTube page, like the link in the description here to the episode, because I don't know what it is. But I have a lot of videos on the new Rule 5 editions. Elvis Alvarado, I'll have a premium feature on him, breaking down fastball is really intriguing. Kind of like what I saw so far.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the site. We've done a pretty good job keeping busy during the off season. We got some other stuff planned upcoming.
So maybe you have.
Well, yeah, I have. I've been. Everyone off season hit. Everyone took vacation except me. Everyone took vacation.
It's a busy time of year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But check out the site. Subscribe to the site. Weekly premium features. I'll be sending an email out to the staff here within the next couple weeks about doing the site rankings again. Looking forward to that. A bunch of stuff to go with that. They'll come out around spring training time. But until next time, we will catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.